Carter stated, "If you can control a man's thinking, you do not have to worry about his action." He went on to say, "If you make a man feel that he is inferior, you do not have to compel him to accept inferior status, for he will seek it himself." Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining me again. I'm outside in beautiful Minnesota, just taking in some fresh air. Spring is in the air, but I don't know. Sometimes in Minnesota, it comes and goes in these months between February and April. So we'll see, but we're enjoying it for today. I really want to talk today about February being Black History Month and why it is so important to continue Black History Month in remembrance of why it was created in the first place and also the purpose that it served at the time of its creation. Carter G. Woodson, the father of Black History Month, was born in 1875 on his father's tobacco farm in New Canton, Virginia. Woodson was born just before the Jim Crow period and just following the emancipation of the enslaved African population in America. Woodson originally created what was called Negro History Week. He started it on February 7th. He planned it as a celebration of Black history that would last for a week. And this became a trend after it started to help heal and just give African Americans a sense of celebration about their history, their belonging in the American society, and all of their accomplishments, and just giving us a sense of purpose. So Carter knew all too well how harmful narratives, along with historical erasure, impacted the self-esteem and mental well-being of the Black community. The onset of Jim Crow, 1877 through 1965, when laws and customs rested upon the racist characterizations of Black people as culturally, personally, and biologically inferior. These anti-Black, disrespectful, and horrific caricatures were used to sell merchandise, everything from foodstuffs, children's toys, to motor oil. The constant Black diet of these inferior identities was disseminated and controlled by whites in media through theater, film, advertising, radio, newspaper, billboards, and sheet music. To counter these Jim Crow images in his lifetime, Carter authored 20 books. The most impactful for me was The Miseducation of the Negro, being pivotal in continuing to influence Black Americans in how we understand the importance of chronicling our history and not allowing our history to be whitewashed. Carter created structures to research and preserve Black history. He also warned of the dangers of assimilation. Carter stated, "If you can control a man's thinking, you do not have to worry about his action." He went on to say, "If you make a man feel that he is inferior, you do not have to compel him to accept inferior status, for he will seek it himself." Woodson's strength of character allowed him to achieve the following. He received a high school diploma from Frederick Douglass High School in 2 years. He obtained his first bachelor's degree in English literature from Berea College in Kentucky, while simultaneously becoming the principal of his former high school. He acquired a second undergraduate degree from the University of Chicago and a master's degree, both in European history. He then made extraordinary history by becoming the second Black American, the first was W.E.B. Du Bois, to obtain a PhD from Harvard University in 1912. Woodson also helped establish the Association for the Study of Negro Life in Chicago, a group that eventually created the African American curriculum and history lesson plans for Black schools all over America. Woodson died of a heart attack in 1950 at the age of 74 in his home in Washington, D.C. But Woodson's work laid the foundation for generations of African Americans to be enriched by the history and achievements of their ancestry in America. The work to expand Negro History Week into a month-long celebration began in the 1960s during the Civil Rights Movement by a group of college students, and later in 1976 was changed from a week-long celebration to a month-long national observance by President Gerald Ford. Woodson set up the structure for Blacks to capture and keep our history sacred, to continue to uplift and celebrate Black trailblazers, innovators, inventors, pioneers, leaders, poets, orators, and also our history dating back before the transatlantic slave trade. Humanity was born in Africa, and we know this because of men like Carter G. Woodson.